The Peloton. An amazing machine, but also close to $3,000 once you add up everything. That can discourage a lot of people. But what if we had alternative options? Today, we discussed if a cheaper bike with a Peloton app might be a fit for you. Stick around. So I have a Peloton. I'm more than familiar with it, its features, the build quality, and how great it is to use. But I also have this old bike that I had purchased before my Peloton that I've never used the Peloton app with. So I decided to dust off Old Faithful here and give her a spin with the Peloton app to see if that might work for people that aren't quite ready to get the Peloton. The first thing is to get the app installed on your iPad or your iPhone. Unfortunately, at the time of this filming, the Peloton app isn't available on Android devices. I believe it's only available on iOS, so iPad, iPhone. From what I hear, and I don't know if this is accurate, that it will be available for Androids by the end of 2018. So we'll see. But if you know how to use an iPad, go to the App Store, download the Peloton app, sign up. I believe they give you a free trial for maybe 2 weeks. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then I think it's $19.49 a month after that. Not bad if you are getting rid of a gym membership, or if this is your only cost for working out and you're getting a really cheap bike to go with it. It's not a bad way to kind of get your own little home gym going. So definitely something to consider. One of the neat things about the Peloton is the placement of the screen. It's kind of always where you need it. When you're in that riding position, it's right there where you need it. So you can click, you can see, you don't have to work your way to look at a different angle. It's always right there. So on one of these bikes, getting a mount could be a really beneficial step. You know, a little bit of an extra cost, but it's going to put that where you need it and make it always available. Something to consider. I'll place links below for everything so you can find it if you need it. But I did find some good options on Amazon. Alright, so let's get to the part you're really looking forward to. The pros and cons. And we'll start with the pros. To begin with, the motivation is still there. When you're using the Peloton, you have that screen in front of you that has the instructor giving you guidance, the cool music, the people in the background making you feel like you're in a class environment. It just feels good. It kind of pumps you up. It gives you that little extra push to work out. And the app is almost identical to what you get on the Peloton screen. It's very neat, it's very cool, it's almost all still there. You barely can tell a difference. There's only a few things missing out, which we'll cover in the cons. But all in all, that Peloton experience is there, and that's really what you're looking for with this solution. So that is a big pro. One of the things that makes a Peloton workout so great is following instructor's guidance. When you're on a bike like this by yourself with no Peloton, you're only going to push as hard as you're going to push. It's just you, and spin as fast as you're going to spin, doing the resistance as much as you're going to do. There's no real motivation outside if you're really good at pushing yourself to constantly changing that, tweaking it, and just keeping that heart rate up, getting that good workout. With the Peloton, that's what they're doing throughout the whole course. It keeps you very engaged, it makes you push yourself, and it just results in a great workout. Throwing the Peloton app on this, you can mimic what those instructors are telling you quite well. While not ideal, and I'll cover that more in the cons, you can still mimic what they tell you to do, resulting in a great workout. And that is an awesome pro. So with the Peloton, the costs really add up. You see the bike, it's $2,000. But then you got the shipping fee. Shoes are $150 depending on what you get. It adds up. With this, you don't need special shoes. Savings for you. Next, and most importantly, it's still a great workout. I'm used to this Peloton, which pushes you so hard, and you're so sweaty by the end, and you had a great workout, and coming down to this, you probably wouldn't think you'd get that same experience. But throwing the app on there and making sure I'm doing what the instructors are telling me, I was a sweaty mess by then, to be honest. It was a great workout. My heart was beating. I knew I was burning calories. It was great. And that's really what you're coming here to find out. If I save my money and I don't buy this really expensive solution, and I get, a cheaper bike that's still got some quality to it, am I going to get a good workout? Is it worth putting these pieces together and not getting that full solution? Well, from a workout standpoint, it's still very good. It's not Peloton, but it's still very good. And here's a pro you can hold over the Peloton people. You can actually pause your rides. At least when I tested, maybe they'll change it, but you can pause your rides. On the Peloton, You ain't getting away with that. Another positive is the ride feel. It'd be easy to assume that when you go from a high dollar item like the Peloton down to a $150 bike, that you kind of feel like you're just riding a piece of junk. Or at least that's a worry I think a lot of people would have. But the technology on this is they use that same magnetic resistance that the Peloton does. And while I'm not going to try to kid you, the Peloton's much better. You don't get on this and feel like, oh man, I jit myself. I'm going to get on this every day and hate what I'm doing because it's just such a low quality piece of exercise equipment. It's really not that bad. It's not perfect, but for the price point and the workout it's going to give you and still allow you to achieve your goals, it's really not that bad. So it keeps option open for you is what I'm trying to say. On to the cons. Now, I don't mind this bike. I actually think it's pretty good for the price point. But one thing you're not going to be able to do is stand up and ride, which some of the Peloton classes do have you do. So you'll either have to pick classes that have you sit down the whole ride, which there's plenty to choose from, or you'll need to sit down through those portions, or find a different bike. And this is by no means the only option available. This is what I would consider the entry-level model. It's price point wise, it's very cheap compared to other bikes that you can find. It's going to do a lot of good stuff, but it's not going to do everything. And if you're willing to spend a little more, you're going to get some bikes that have a lot more features. So we'll get to that in a little while. Another con is that the resistance isn't nearly as granular as the Peloton. With the Peloton, you have that knob you turn, and you can dial it in from 0 to 100 in increments of 1. So as you're working out and they tell you to try to work yourself out a little harder, you're able to make that very fine-tuned adjustment that does increase the difficulty of the workout, but not to the point where it's like, I can't do this, I can't even make that jump, or I'm getting tired way too quick and I'm just stopping, I'm not getting a good workout. Well, with this, it's 1 through 8. You have to make those clicks, which isn't the end of the world, but it's not Peloton. What you could do is when they tell you to make a jump of say 3 to 4, you might have to skip those at some time. And then you make that next jump when maybe they're getting out of what they call the 30s and they're into the 40s. That's when you go from 3 to 4. So you just kind of in your mind have to do the math and kind of decide when it's right for you to make those adjustments because you're making a little bit bigger swings. Definitely a con, but not a showstopper. Another thing is the cadence is not a direct match. Often in the Peloton world, they're going to tell you how fast to spin or your cadence. So they're going to say, go at 100 right now, which is a pretty good clip. They might tell you go real fast, get to 120, or slow down with a high resistance and maybe only do 60 or 70. Well, obviously that's a Peloton statistic, and you're not going to see that on this. But what you can do is try to mimic. You can watch them. I mean, they're going to be on the video right in front of you, and you can see how fast they're spinning. You can tell if they're increasing or decreasing, and you can match that. I really don't even think it's that big of a con. I mean, obviously with the Peloton, you're able to direct match and do exactly what you're supposed to be doing if you want to do that. But with this, you can still speed up or slow down and get the workout and match what they're doing the best you can. Not a huge deal. So one of my favorite things about the Peloton is the competitive nature. You might see a leaderboard and you see that you got someone maybe 20 ahead of you as far as their total output, and you're thinking, I can catch them, let me go get them. And you work out harder. You wouldn't have done that otherwise. Now with these or any bike with the app, you're not going to get that because Peloton doesn't know your stats. They don't know how fast you're spinning, they don't know what your resistance is at, so they can't calculate a total output, which means there's no leaderboard. So you're not going to get that competitive feel. I wouldn't say that falls in the showstopper category, but it is something you have to ask yourself. Is that the part that's really going to motivate me? Do I need to have that competitive nature to it? Do I need to say, I'm going to go get that person in front of me? Or is it the instructor giving you guidance that's going to be more motivating? That's going to really help you decide if this is a fit for you, or you're better off just saving for the Peloton if you're going to do this. All right, we're not done yet, but if this video is helping you out, hit that like button to show me. And as always, subscribe and share if possible. In conclusion, the Peloton is a great product. I love it. I don't regret that I got it. And if you're leaning towards that side and you want to get one, I think you'll like it. I truly do. It's a great product. But that's not for everybody. And if you're thinking, I still want to work out, I want to take over my health, I want to burn some calories, I want to lose some weight, whatever your reasons are, whatever your goals are, can you make it happen with an alternative bike and the Peloton app? Yes, I truly feel you could. The Peloton experience, I mean, if you talk to people about the Peloton, they'll say the bike's great itself. But the experience is what sells it, what makes it so great. And you get a huge percentage of that with the app. Consider yourself lucky. You can still do this. You can hit those goals. You can make it happen, but on a very small budget. This bike is $150. If you already have an iPad or iPhone, you're okay. A few accessories if you want them, and you can put together a solution and take over your health. So if you decide to do the alternative experience and get a different bike with the Peloton app, it can be a little bit overwhelming. What bike do you get? What accessories do you get? How do you put it all together? Don't worry. What I've done is done some research. Basically read a lot of reviews and tried to identify bikes that I feel like would be a good match. This is not the only option. Again, beginner level, no bells and whistles, but if your budget is $150 and you have the other pieces, this will get you started. This will get you losing weight. This will get you helping to meet your goals. But there are other bikes. So what I'm going to do is put a list of products in the description below that I feel would be good options for you if you're considering this option. A breakdown of bikes by quality, starting with this one at the beginner level, working up to higher quality bikes, breakdown of the accessories and different things you may want to consider purchasing if you're going to put this together. And I'll try to summarize everything so you know what the pros and cons of the different items are, or maybe what you're going to get out of those. But by all means, do your own research. This is just trying to guide you to say, hey, here are some options you may want to consider. They have good reviews, and here's what they do and don't do. But do your own research. I don't want you to get into something that doesn't work for you. But also, one thing I'm asking everybody to do is comment down below if you feel you have something that would be good for this. I will keep this list updated. If one bike just isn't working out for people and you find some specific reasons it's just not working, let me know. I will keep this list updated to help everybody else out. I hope this video has helped you out. And if the Peloton's something you've been interested in, but you know it's just not in the cards for you, I hope this makes you feel like you do have options, that you can still take over your health. Because you can. Because as a Peloton owner, I will say that if you don't get the Peloton and you put together an alternative bike solution and set it up right, you can still get a great workout and most definitely take over your health. So go get it, and happy riding.